Hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer multiplayer battle. This is going to be the Vampire Coast versus Chaos. I know that sounds familiar because I did one of these yesterday, but in that video I had mentioned about me bringing a Aranessa Goon squad, and I found the replay. I did actually save it. So this is that. So it is going to be the same factions as yesterday, but I'm playing as the Vampire Coast this time, and the armies are completely different. So for my army, we have a front line of 4 of the zombie pirate deckhand mobs with swords, and then we also have 3 of the zombie pirate deckhand mobs with polearms. So the thing with Aranessa, and I kind of went over what she has yesterday, but just in case, a quick rundown here, we have the Kraken's Bane, which increases melee attack of 5 and a bonus versus large plus 8 to all units around her. So for example, these deckhand mobs that are sword variants are now rocking a 22 melee attack with a bonus versus large. So with Aranessa around, even the basic deckhand mobs kind of become a cheap spearman unit, because then they have the bonus versus large of 8, so that is added to the melee attack, so they actually have a 30 melee attack, and they do bonus damage versus large targets if they are around Aranessa. So, you know, just to show you the power of what this ability really does, it is, I believe, super powerful. One of the most powerful abilities, I believe, in the game, to grant units around her a plus 13 melee attack against large creatures specifically, and bonus damage versus them as well. I think it's just such a good ability. But on top of that, we have the self buff, which increases her melee defense and damage resistance. We have the Hornswoggle, which is kind of like the Vampire Fleet Captain's taunt ability, but it lasts longer. Then we have the All Hands Ahoy, which increases damage of nearby units and herself and leadership. And then we have that Spearfisher Net, which can net people down for 18 seconds and lower their melee defense. Then for the Goon Squad, for the rest of them, I have 2 Vampire Fleet Captains, one of the Deep, which has the Power Stone. Yeah, Power Stone, which increases our power reserves and recharge rate. I bring the Taunt because it's such a good ability, and then just only one spell, the Denizens of the Deep. Now, since I'm only bringing one spell that I can only cast once every 90 seconds, I'm sorry, once every 39 seconds? Really? You can cast this that fast? I guess I never noticed. Anyway, I'm only going to be using this about twice in a battle, so I took off the passive of the Deep because it saves up some money, and honestly, it's not going to really be utilized with a unit that's only casting one spell and only casting it twice throughout a battle. So I just took off the passive of her, and I may have taken off the passive here. Yeah, I also took off the passive of this Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires, which again, I took the Taunt, I took the Power Stone, and for the 2 spells for her, I brought Invocation of Nehek, and then the Drowned Dead, the unique summon for the Vampire Coast. But again, I took away their passive, which you may be able to leave it on here because you can kind of spam the Drowned Dead and Invocation of Nehek, so actually the passive here may kind of work. But anyway, I took it off of both of them. So that's the actual Goon Squad here. You can also throw in a Terrorgeist if you want to. That, I think, works well with this type of build as well, as long as you keep them all together for the most part, because again, you want to try and get Aranessa's buff. Also, before we get into this battle, something to remember, because I have forgotten it a couple times, is that Aranessa, though she is in an army of all undead units that can be hit with Invocation of Nehek, she is not an undead person herself. She is just a mutant. She is... Whoa, these weird camera changes that happen. Anyway, she is just a mutant, so she does not actually benefit from Evocation of Nehek. Just something to keep in mind whenever you play as her, because again, it's something that I definitely just forget. Like, I know it, but I forget about it in the heat of battle because I'm just like, okay, this is our undead army. I'm just going to overcast Invocation of Nehek, heal up our leader just real quick because, you know, in the middle of battle, there's so many things going on in my head. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's our Goon Squad. Most of our army. I did also bring for some tankiness the Lamprey's Revenge. I think these are a very solid unit for the Vampire Coast. They have regeneration, and they have the little cannonball shooter zombie guys on their packs, so that's kind of neat. So I really like them a lot too. And then the Air Force for this army, we have 3 of the deck droppers with handguns to try and punish the Chaos Forces if they didn't bring any anti-air, and they didn't bring any anti-air. And then I also brought 2 Fellbats just in case they did bring some kind of flying manticore. We would try to hold them in place with the Fellbats and then let the deck droppers do their thing. So that is our army. And again, the deck droppers are going to be the anti-armor variants kind. For the Chaos army, they have a couple of Chaos Marauders, I believe. One on this flank, one on this flank. Yes, they have 2 of those. They have 3 normal Forsaken? Yeah, 3. They have 3 Forsaken, and then they also have the Renowned Forsaken, the Demon Spew. The Demon Spew is really cool because it lowers melee attack of units surrounded by -5 with its Swarm of Flies, I believe is the trait that is called. So they have 4 Forsaken in total, which are going to do wonders against our chaff. Like, Forsaken are just perfect for killing deck drop or deck gun deckhand mobs. So many decks in this coast. They're so real suited for that. On top of that, they also have 2 normal chosen right here and here, and then they have the mirror guard chaos warriors in the middle with their immune to psychology. And then behind those, we have the weird spawn, which have the Sunder ability, which is kind of neat because they can kind of do well against the crabs. The Sunder ability will lower your armor by 30 for 10 seconds as they hit you. They also have the damage resistance of 20%? I'm sorry, 15%. But besides that, they have very low armor, but they do hit pretty hard, and they are unbreakable because they are Chaos spawn. And speaking about Chaos, they are being led by the Chaos Man himself, Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, with the buff spells and the Fireball spell. And they also took the Sword of the Spoiler? Sorry, Slayer of Kings, which increases his damage by a whole bunch. This is a very deadly weapon. You need to watch out for this thing when it is active, but again, he has the buffs here with the Flaming Sword and the Armor one, and then the Fireball. So that is Archaon, and that is their army, just massive melee-focused army. Oh, sorry, they also have pups. They have 3 pups over here in the going into the trees. So just 3 Chaos Warhounds. And there we go. That is the army. So what I did here, noticing that the enemy did not have any anti-air, I am going to actually fly our deck droppers behind the line and start shooting at Archaon and start shooting at these Chosen. If we fire at these units from the front, they will have a block chance. Archaon has a bronze shield, and then the Chosen have the silver shield, so they can block even more. So there's no need... I'm sorry, I also have scurvy dogs. My bad. I had the Vanguard deployed. I forgot all about them. So we don't really need to shoot them from the front because we're not being threatened by anything. So we're just going to fly behind and shoot their backside so they can't actually block our shots. So a couple salvos going from these deck droppers over here, so doing massive amount of damage to Archaon, who can't do anything except for try to make his way into the forest, which is what he's going to do. He's going to charge over here. I have no reason to charge right now because we're just... shooting them up with the deck droppers, so I'm just going to hold my ground and let the deck droppers do the thing. We're going to be shooting into this Chosen with this unit, and then after a couple more shots, we're actually going to let Archaon go because I have built a Goon squad designed to kill units like Archaon. So there's not really a huge threat, or not I should say not a huge threat. It's not a responsibility of the deck droppers to kill him. It is the responsibility to test this Goon squad out and see if they can kill Archaon. That's what we really want to do here. So we're going to actually have these 2 shoot up the backs of this Chosen to try and weaken them up a little bit. And I have my Felbats, who are going to be going into melee here soon just to try and pin down their army. I believe I send the Scurvy Dogs in as well. Again, just to try and slow them down a little bit and allow more time for our deck droppers to shoot up these Chosen in the back, which they're doing a decent amount of damage right now. Now, I could be really mean right here, and we could just actually, like, withdraw. Like, this entire time, I could have maybe, like, moved my army over here and just buy even more time for the deck droppers, but I try not to do that, but you totally can, because the enemy didn't take any tools to kill your ranged units, so... And you could totally do that, and it's kind of a jerk move, but it's totally valuable, and reliable, or whatever. Anyway, words. We're going to be summoning our first set of crabs over here, and the whole purpose of these crabs is going to try and run into the mirror guard and the weird spawn just to try and slow them down. Again, buy more time for our deck droppers to do their thing. Archaon's going to be coming out of the forest over here soon-ish. And we're going to be charged here by the Forsaken, and the Forsaken are going to be coming around here into our deckhand mobs, and you can see the Forsaken are just chewing our deckhand mobs to pieces. I did do another summon. I tried to summon these in front of the Forsaken before they got into our actual line, but I did not get it off in time. Over here, you can see I'm trying to slow down the Chosen over here and over here with our Felbats to try and buy more time for these gunners to shoot them up before they get into melee. We have the Forsaken Demon Spew coming in here into more of the Zombie Pirate deckhand mobs, but you're going to notice that our Lamprey's Revenge are going to be able to tank these Forsaken. Because the Forsaken, they deal a lot of damage, but it's not really armor-piercing damage, so that these very tanky crabs are going to be really good at just tanking these Forsaken for a very long time, because they also have, regeneration, so they're going to be fine for a while. Now, over here, Archaon just started popping, I believe he's about to pop a spell. There we go. Flaming Sword of Ruin, and he's going to activate his sword weapon there. There we go. So, looking at his sword, let me just pause. I know I keep pausing. Now, I could fight this, okay? I could, but I noticed him popping his buffs, and he is running at us with a 78 melee attack, charge bonus of 97, and 804 armor-piercing damage. So I have 2 options. One, I can take this fight and just have a whole bunch of damage swung my way. Or I can just run away and let this buff kind of do its thing. There's no reason to fight him right now. He is getting stuck on the Zombie Pirate deckhand mobs. You know he wants to get into our hero squad, but he can't. So we're just kind of letting that buff go by for a little while, but we will re-engage here pretty soon. Meanwhile, we just have more summon. I think these are summons. Maybe not. Actual just decking mobs holding off what remains of the Chosen. The deck droppers over here are going to still be shooting into the backs of the Chosen there. I'm just trying to show you everything before we get into what's happening over here right now. The Chaos Marauders and these guys are going to be duking out for a while, and the Lamprey's Revenge are going to eventually be able to route these Forsaken, and then they're going to go into these Forsaken and start tanking them up as well. But they will be chewing through my Zombie Pyre decking mobs relatively easily, because again, that's kind of what they're designed to do with their high weapon strength and very good melee attack against these zombies. So this side is that's what's going on over there. Now over here, I had decided to re-engage on Archaon. He may still have his buff up for a little bit. No, yeah, he does for just a little bit longer. We can see here that we have now popped Hornswoggle. We have Spearfish netted him, so his melee defense is 33. That is with the buff he's getting from the Cascading Fire Cloak. So let's keep going. And we are just doing so much damage to him because we have our Goon squad fighting him. They all have a bonus versus large because of Aranessa. They all do armor-piercing damage. He has now lost his damage buff for the most part. Still Hornswoggled, and there goes the taunt. So his armor is down to 60, his melee defense is down to 6, and he is just getting melted. Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, with taunt, Hornswoggle, Spearfish net, and a whole bunch of anti-large in the Goon squad, just he gets routed almost instantaneously. Like, that was, I don't know, 20 seconds of a fight. So here come the Weird Spawn. They were being held up by our Summon Crafts for a while, but they did eventually break through there. They did some damage, I believe, to our Zombie Pyre deckhand mobs, but now the enemy is trying to surround our forces with the Forsaken, with these Weird Spawn, and with the Marauders. And still, we are just shooting them up over here with our deck droppers. And back here, I believe these two puppies chased my Scurvy Dogs. So that's fine. These two puppies chased one of my units. They did eventually kill the Scurvy Dogs, but that is okay. We didn't really need them against this army anyway. Going to summon our second crab here to just try and tank some more of the Forsaken and the Chaos Marauders. And like our Goon squad here, our Hero squad is totally fine. Now some of them are being hit by the Weird Spawn, which is why I've switched our field or our fire orders to the Weird Spawn, because they are now the biggest threat because they lower our armor. Everything else around us, not a huge deal. They don't do that much armor-piercing damage, and all of these units, when they are mounted on the crabs, they have an armor of 120. When they're not mounted on the crabs, they're a little more brittle. But on the crabs, they have very high armor, so they can kind of withstand a lot of the damage that's being thrown here, because the only armor piercing that's really kind of being done is the Weird Spawn, and that's really only because they have the armor sundering. So we're trying to focus them right now, and I believe actually we may almost kill them here. They don't have much health left. Meanwhile, over here with the Lamprey's Revenge, we have, like I said, tanked one of the Forsaken, and we have tanked these Demon Spew down until they basically had nothing. So that's 2 Forsaken that these units are now tanked through, and they're still looking pretty good because, again, they have regeneration. So they're just absorbing all this damage with their high armor and then regenerating the damage that actually does go through. So they are, I believe, a really good unit, especially against the Forsaken. So things are kind of just, you know, calm over here, casually hitting each other. Over here, things were just bad for the Chaos, with Archaon just getting pummeled by these 3 units. Summoning another one of the deck droppers, or deck hand mobs here, just to, again, absorb some damage from the Chosen this time. I'm going to send one of our deck droppers into the forest here to try and finish off Archaon. The other 2 are going to be wheeling, I believe, around over here. Yeah, so you can see that we are repositioning again to try and shoot in the backs of the Chosen. It is very important when you have the mobility to utilize it. And in this case, that is going behind them so they can't block any of these shots and just shooting them up with armor-piercing damage from the back. As our heroes just tank for days. Like, look at this. They've been surrounded for a while, but they're really not that injured because the vampires also have hunger, so they're going to be regenerating in melee anyway. Aranessa has no such feature, but she just hasn't taken much damage in general. And the All Hands Ahoy have been popped. These puppies really have no chance here, although our Rotting Prometheans have kind of succumbed to the damage of the Forsaken, and the Chaos Marauders are just the summoning damage that they take inherently because they're summons. We're chasing off Archaon with one of our deck droppers right there. He doesn't have much health left, and things are not looking great. There comes the Lamprey's Revenge there at the end. We dropped a big old Invocation of Heck onto them and everything else around us, except for Aranessa, because again, she's not undead, so she can't actually heal from this. But she does have some tankiness to her with the Manon's Luck that increases her damage resistance, and that is going to be GG. So that is the Aranessa Goon Squad. Again, you can also add a Terrorgeist to this. You could, if you want to, take away one of the Vampire Fleet Captains and put like a Mourngall Hunter there if you want to. The Mourngalls are the anti-infantry hero that the Vampire Coast has, but again, around Aranessa, they will have at least a bonus versus large as well. And they're pretty good duelists also. I just like the double vampires because they give us a lot of damage. Actually, you know, we just... Good games, sorry, to Rome 816, but let's just go over what they do here. There we go. Morgul Haunters. So they hit pretty hard, and they'll have a bonus versus large around Aranessa, so you could also use them. But they don't bring any spells, though, you know? But they are going to be pretty tanky because they also have the Hunger. They do have the Deadly Onslaught. You can give them this Potion of Strength, so their damage can be shot through the roof for a while, especially if you team it up with the All Hands Ahoy. So with that buff, and then the Potion buff and Deadly Onslaught, like, this guy is he's gonna hit hard. But anyway, for the Vampire Fleet Captains, if you don't stick them onto the mount, you can see that they only have 30 armor. They do not have any armor piercing. Well, they do have some, but it's not their focus. But if you spend the money, you put them on their mount, they become really tanky, they get more hit points, and their damage technically lowers, but it changes to mostly armor piercing. So that's kind of a big deal. So they're pretty tanky while on these. They also have the Hunger, so they're going to be regenerating in combat. And then, you know, they have the Aranessa buff. So that's why I think this really works. Now, weakness is going to be against, like, flying lords and heroes, because they can just fly away. So that's kind of a problem. But I kind of like the double captains. I did not use the death one. If you want to, you can. But I just like the deep and the vampire lore because they can get the summons. So if we are getting overwhelmed, we just drop a deckhand mob, or we drop a what are they called again? The Prometheans, the crab people. So I like the double summons in case things really go bad for the Goon Squad, or we just need to summon, you know, somewhere else to hold the line or something. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. They're very expensive though, as you can see here. Like they're fairly expensive. You take off all the spells. Let's see, take that off, put them on the mounts. Yeah, take that off. Also, what's kind of cool, if you want to try this, you can bring the speed of Lycos, which gives a unit stalk for 44 seconds and increases their speed. You could bring that and like put it on a bloated corpse and try that kind of shenanigans, leave them so that they're stalking and try and sneak up on an enemy. That could work. In theory, that could work. So bringing the double fleet captains also kind of gives you that as an option. This can also be utilized on just any other important unit that you want to try and save from, like, artillery fire if you're charging into an enemy formation, you know, something like that. So these also give you that option for a pretty cheap price. I like them. I like this idea because I just always see this guy. I always see Count Noctilus. Sometimes I see Silostra, which I love Silostra as well. And then very rarely have I seen Luther or Aranessa in my personal battles. It's mostly always Noctilus on his Necrofex or off his Necrofex. That's what I usually see all the time. But honestly, I think all of their lords, well, the legendary ones are pretty good. Anyway, let's go watch a cinematic view. I've been rambling on about this Aranessa Goon Squad because I just think it's really cool. I like it. It just works. It just works because of this. The Kraken's Blade is just so cool. Anyway, let's watch cinematic view. If you are playing as Chaos against the Vampire Coast, you have to bring some sort of anti-air so you can try and stop what's going on right now. Because this is so annoying to fight against. If you don't have any, you know, Marauder Horsemen, even a Manticore. Probably Marauder Horsemen, though. Because they're cheap. You can get a few of them. You kind of need them. Or else you're just going to get shot up. These are chosen, just getting shot in the back. They are expensive. And here comes Archaon, just like, I'm gonna duel you. And I'm like, no, not yet. is not time. Now it is time. The crabs. Goodbye, Archon. I get to see some of these guys shooting their guns. Oh! Probably one of the only times you're going to see me bring a unit that has these hand cannons on them. Is when I bring these guys. Because, God. The actual hand cannon deck gunner, or whatever they're called, the actual unit of these guys are terrible. They'd be pretty cool. They're not. They're pretty cool while riding on the backs of crabs, though. So many crabs. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time.